In our previous video, we learned the first case of congruency of two triangles. In order to prove that two triangles are congruent, we need to prove that they have one equal side included between two equal angles. And let's solve this example. Observe the figure. Here we don't have any written information or any written given. We should rely only on the given codes to prove that these two triangles are congruent. Question A, show that the two triangles PRQ and the CED are congruent. When we want to prove that two triangles are congruent, it's same as imagining ourselves as a lawyer who wants to prove that someone is innocent. And in order to prove the innocence of this person, this lawyer needs evidence. And to prove the innocence of this person, this lawyer needs three types of evidence. Same as we learned in this first case, we need to prove that these two triangles have three corresponding elements that are equal. So my purpose now is to gather these evidence by looking at the information given in this exercise. If I look here at the two sides, QP and EC, you will notice that no written information is mentioned and nor given codes are placed. Same for the two sides QR and CD. No information are mentioned about these two sides nor codes are placed. So I cannot use the fact that side QP equals to side EC and side QR equals to side CD. But I notice that for the two sides PR and ED, same given code is placed on these two sides. It means that these two sides are equal. So we found our first evidence. Now we need two more evidence, and these evidence are about the adjacent angles of side PR. They should be relatively equal to the two adjacent angles of the side ED. And we can easily prove this evidence by looking at the given codes for these two pairs of angles. In fact, angle QRP is equal to angle EDC given code, and angle RPQ is equal to angle CED given code. So now I've found all the three needed evidence to prove that these two triangles are congruent, and now we are going to learn how to write this proof by mentioning all the required details. Now let's see how do I answer this question. Show that the two triangles PRQ and CED are congruent. First step, I need to rewrite the question. I write show, I underline, then I place a semicolon, then I name the triangles that I need to prove that they are congruent. Here I write triangles PRQ and CED are congruent. It doesn't mean that these two triangles are congruent. I need to find enough evidence to prove or to show that these two triangles are congruent. Then I start my proof. When I start my proof, I need to mention which triangles do I need to prove that they are congruent. So I write proof, underline, semicolon, and triangles PRQ and CED, semicolon, and now I start stating the three evidence that we just discovered from the given codes. So first information was first evidence was about the two equal sides PR equals ED, and then I state the reason. How did I know? because of the given codes. But I don't write given codes, I just write given. Then we have the fact that angle PRQ equals angle CDE. Also, I must mention the reason. Also, it's given. And angle RPQ equals to angle CED, and also same reason given. So the three pairs of equal corresponding elements are enough. After writing the three evidence that allowed me to prove that these two triangles are congruent, and after writing the justification, how did I know? I must write the result, and the result is called the congruency statement. So now I prove that triangles PRQ and CED are congruent by one equal side included between two equal angles. So this type of question is always answered by writing these required details. So we need to memorize the steps that we need to follow. So first step is to rewrite the question and mentioning which triangles we need to show that they are congruent. Then we need to prove that they are congruent. We write proof, underline, semicolon. Then we mention which triangles we need to prove that they are congruent. And now we write the three evidence. We only need three, the equal side and the two equal included angles. And in the end, we write the congruency statement. This congruency statement is always the same. We need to memorize it. What will change is only the name of the triangles. But for this chapter, we are only using this case. So we need to memorize this statement very well. Question B, list the corresponding parts of these two congruent triangles. By the term parts, we mean the corresponding elements. Earlier, when we explained the definition of congruent triangles, we mentioned that two congruent triangles have, in fact, 6 corresponding elements. But to prove that two triangles are congruent, we only need 3 corresponding elements. We only need 3 evidence. In question B, they are asking us to write all the corresponding elements. In question A, we already used 3 of these elements. We don't write them in question B. We only write the corresponding elements that are not already mentioned. Now, to answer question B, first, we copy the question. Then we write its solution. Triangles PRQ and CED are congruent. We already proved it in part A. So all their corresponding elements must be equal. Once we prove that two triangles are congruent, we automatically have the right to use the fact that all the other corresponding elements that they are equal. They must be equal for sure. In particular, now we mention the remaining corresponding elements that are not mentioned in question A. Let's start with the first corresponding element. Angle PQR is equal to angle ECD. The two remaining corresponding elements, which are in fact two sides. Side PQ is equal to side CE, and side QR is equal to side CD. So we found the 3 remaining corresponding elements, and the fact that in question A we proved that triangles PRQ and CED that they are congruent, we can now say about the 3 remaining corresponding elements that they are in fact equal. And the importance of the corresponding elements is that in case we have a question C, and in this question one of these corresponding elements are needed to prove question C, we can use them immediately because their equality is already proven in question B.